So you got yourself a mirrorless camera. Cool, but you're not entirely sure how to get the perfect shot. In this video, I'm going to break down the exposure triangle and show you how to set up the right exposure every single time. So what exactly is the exposure triangle? It consists of three factors: shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. By adjusting these settings, you can control the amount of light that enters your camera, and ultimately this determines the exposure of your photo or video. It's important to remember that changing one setting will also affect the others, so it's crucial to understand what they do and how they work together. First, let's talk about shutter speed. This is the duration of time that your camera shutter is open. A faster shutter speed will capture less light, allowing you to freeze motion and reduce blur. A slower shutter speed will capture more light, but may cause motion blur if either the camera or the subject moves during the exposure. In photography, you typically use a faster shutter speed with moving subjects, such as sports or animals. For more static shots like portraits or products, you can lower the shutter speed, or also when you actually want motion blur in your shot. For video, there's an additional consideration in terms of shutter speed, the 180-degree rule. Essentially, your shutter speed should be set to twice your frame rate. For instance, if you're shooting at 25 frames per second, your shutter speed should be set to 1/50. This will create a natural looking motion blur, similar to what we see with our own eyes. A slower shutter speed usually gives a choppy, unnatural look. Remember that increasing shutter speed reduces the amount of light that enters your camera. Therefore, it's important to keep an eye on it, especially in low light situations. Next up, aperture. This refers to the size of the opening in your camera's lens. A wider aperture, represented by a lower f number, allows more light into the camera and results in a shallow depth of field. This creates separation between the subject in focus and the out of focus surroundings, producing a creamy background blur or bokeh effect. This is ideal for portraits or products when emphasizing a specific detail or element in the shot. A narrow aperture, represented by a higher f number, allows less light into the camera and results in a deeper depth of field. This means that more of the shot will be in focus, with less background blur and fewer separations between the subject and surroundings. This is often used for landscape, architecture, or group shots, where you typically want everything in focus. Again, remember that aperture affects the amount of light entering the camera. So lenses with wide apertures are great for low light situations, while narrow apertures may not perform as well. Finally, let's discuss ISO, the sensitivity of your camera sensor to light. A lower ISO makes your camera less sensitive to light, producing a cleaner image as long as there is sufficient light for proper exposure. A higher ISO makes your camera more sensitive to light, allowing you to shoot in darker conditions, but it also increases the amount of noise in your image. For optimal quality, it is generally best to keep the ISO as low as possible. When adjusting exposure settings, it's important to consider the order in which you make changes. This may vary depending on the circumstances or the type of shot you're trying to capture. However, as a general guide, you should start by adjusting either aperture or shutter speed, and only then adjust ISO. This is because aperture and shutter speed have the most direct impact on the appearance of your photo or video, affecting depth of field and motion blur. Once you've set these, you can adjust the ISO to compensate for light conditions. For example, if you're taking photos of fast-moving subjects such as wildlife, birds, or running children, start by setting your shutter speed to avoid blurry pictures. Then set your aperture to determine the depth of field, and finally adjust the ISO. If you're taking more static shots such as portraits or product photos, start by setting the aperture to determine what's in focus. Then set the shutter speed and finally adjust the ISO. For video, start by setting the shutter speed according to the 180 rule. Then adjust the aperture and finally adjust the ISO. You can also try using Auto ISO. This feature allows you to focus on setting the shutter speed and aperture while the camera determines the best ISO value. Although it's not always perfect, it can be super helpful powerful and easy to use. Most modern cameras also offer priority modes, such as aperture or shutter speed priority mode. In these modes, you can focus on setting either aperture or shutter speed, and the camera will automatically set the other exposure settings to the optimal value. This can be helpful if you're not yet comfortable shooting in full manual mode. So there you have it, the exposure triangle demystified. By understanding how these settings work and work together, you can take full control of your camera and create stunning content in any situation. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and if you like what you see, here's a couple more of my videos to watch next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.